Hello everyone and welcome to today's kitchen session, China's obsession with hosting mega sporting events. So today's session is delivered by Dr. Min Ge, Senior Lecturer within Modern Languages. So my name's Katie and I'm a HE advisor here at the University of Chester, and I'm here along with Vicky today, who's helping us behind the scenes. So I'll start by reassuring you that your video and audio are not shared at all during the course of this session. In terms of how today will work, I'll shortly be handing over to Min. So during the presentation, you'll be able to ask questions in the chat function, which is just on the right-hand side of your screen. So you can ask questions anonymously there if you wish. You just need to tick the box to say you wish to be anonymous. And you can also like other questions that people have asked or answer any questions that Min may ask you during the session. And any questions that you do ask, Vicky will ask Min those at the end of the session. So I think that's everything from me. Over to you, Min.
All right, thank you, Katie. Thank you, Vicky, as well. Hello, everyone. My name is Min Ge. I'm the program leader of Chinese at the University of Chester. Thank you for joining us today. So today we will talk about China's obsession with hosting the mega sporting event. And this is my research interest. Is also the content is part of the history and culture module in the University for students who study Chinese. And today we'll have an overview of the subject with some interesting facts. So why I use the word obsessions? Just a brief overview looking at the China bidding for the hosting the Olympic Games in the past. And out of all the mega sporting events today, we'll mainly focus on the Olympic Games. So in the past 22 years, China has bidding for the privileges to host this game 3 times. The first time was in 1993, then 2001, and then 2015. And for the same city, bid for the same event 3 times in 22 years is a very frequent record. There's a lot of reason behind it. Some people will say Chinese athletes are quite obsessed about winning the competitions. Well, true, it is one of the facts, but there are others as well. So let's have a look at together. The first one, the first one is the history part. You can see the phrase here, the sick man of East Asia. It was a very painful history for the country. As one of the pictures shows, it started from back in the 1840, the Opium War. First of all, apologize if that picture is upsetting. It started from the Opium War when opium was introduced to brought into China, and the addiction to this drug has brought the physical level down for Chinese people, and that Opium War led to almost a century-long semi-colonial history in China. So because of that period, that history, from the government to the people are having this image of being weak. So this phrase has been used to refer China and the Chinese people for a very long time. And you can see on the picture on the right-hand side was a movie released in 1972, one of the Bruce Lee movie, and he used this phrase in the movie, which was in Chinese called Dong Ya Bing Fu. It's the Chinese version of Sick Man of East Asia. So you can see this phrase has been used to reflect and to refers to this century humiliation of this country. So ever since, the government and the people are trying to rebuild an image of Chinese people as well as the country, and to regain the confidence as well. So one subject provided a solution, which is sports. Because of the nature of sports itself, it naturally brought out during the physical competition for the winning for the winning side, it's naturally brought out this confidence, this proud, and during the international competitions, whether you like a sport or not, I think we all have that feeling when you're watching the Olympic Games. If you see athletes from your own country won the medal, then it naturally brought out the nationalism inside of you. So, so these sports provide a very good platform for Chinese people to rebuild physically, to rebuild a better physical image as well as a national pride. And out of all the sporting events, I listed 3 pictures are all from the same team, which is Chinese women volleyball. And why them? It's very interesting history because the black and white picture here was the Chinese women team back in 1981 when they won the Volleyball World Cup in Japan. And it was the first time of any Chinese sporting team have ever won a major international competition. And the impact or the effect of this is not just they won the golden medal. Is one of the I believe is one of the interviews afterwards. A local Chinese citizen who lived in Japan at that time, and he said he noticed the differences while he was walking on the street, and people started to say hello and started to smile at him, and because of the volleyball team from his country has won the championship. So that was very inspiring, and it has inspired generations in China. And it's very interesting fact to point out is in the black and white picture from the left at the second player who's holding a very big trophy, and she is our current national team coach of China, currently a coach for the national team. And the national team today actually is at Italy, play the volleyball national league at the moment. So the sports provide this platform, and the government carry out in the 90s this system called the whole nation system to boost the Chinese sports system. This system basically is a sports version of a planned economy system. It's learned from Soviet Union, but developed with Chinese characteristics. Basically, is the government have centralized the management and administration, and to gather all the available useful resources to develop and provide support to elite sports, particularly. And all the athletes were selected and are still selected from every level possible. So I used a very personal example here. That was me in the picture, or the one in up front. Yeah, I was considered a part of the whole nation system. So when I was in school, I signed up a contract and to train as athletes and to compete for the school, which is every day, half an hour before the class, and another 1 hour and a half after the school finished. And then I have to compete join the competition and the regional competition and the competition of the city, and then for all the good athletes that they will present, they will be nominated by the headhunters and then to join the city team and compete in the professional team, and then eventually for the good ones would be picked up, they're spotted to compete, join the national team, and then compete in the international games. So that's how China, the government, built up the whole sporting system, and to provide all the sports. To provide all the support to elite sports, and to ensure that Chinese athletes can able to reach a very high standard at certain sports, especially the sports which are popular globally. And out of all the sporting events, why Olympic Games? Well, first of all, Olympic Games as the most comprehensive or the biggest sporting event itself, and also we can trace back to 1908, where this guy called Zhang Boling, who was a educationist and he was a representative of the government, observed one of the Olympic Games back at that time, and when he went back to China, he delivered a speech, a public speech, and introduced this event the first time to Chinese general public. And then later on, he published this paper and presented 3 questions to the general public, which are presented here on the slides. Is when will be China first time to send the athletes to Olympic Games? And when will be the first time for China to send a team? And the last one is when will be possible for China to have the privileges to host the Olympic Games? Well, the first 2 dreams have been quickly fulfilled before 1952, and the last dream was fulfilled not till 2008 when China first time hosted the Olympic Games in Beijing. And this is one of the reasons, and another reason is the Olympic Games itself, this event. This is not really related to China, but a very brief background of the Olympic Games is in 1984, the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, it was the turning point of this event, and the Olympic Games has become commercialized. This guy on the cover of the Time magazine that year is called Peter Evers, and he is the businessman. And because of him, this sporting event was first time organized with the business model, and the game the first time had official sponsors, and the commercial event activities were allowed to conducted in the venue, and then and it was the first time in Olympic history where the host city actually has won the very good a financial benefit by hosting the game, and also the sponsors have developed themselves, the company, the brands have developed themselves through the Olympic Games. So at least very few those games, I believe everybody are familiar with those brands and those names. But I don't know if you know before today that those names become big, and a very big reason because of the Olympic Games. So this gives another reason for all the cities, and particularly for China as well, to be particularly interested to host the Olympic Games, is to through the platform to regain the image of China or Chinese people, and to show that China is a super sporting country, and at the same time probably to able to benefit the financial benefit from hosting the event at the same time. So Beijing hosted the 2008 Summer Olympic Games, and the games has a multiple possible impact to the city. And one of the big thing I listed here is heritages we can see today is those fantastic the architectures. So on the bottom left is the main stadium for Beijing Olympic Games. It's called the Bird Nest, and the Bird Nest actually will be used for the next Beijing Winter Olympic Games as well. And on the bottom right is the swimming stadium, and it has a very cute name called the Water Cube. And now in the swimming stadium inside has been converted into a water wonderland, which is open for general public. And then on the top right is the Beijing Capital International Airport Terminal 3. And this new terminal was specifically built for the Olympic Games to be able to accommodate all the thousands of spectators and athletes and tourists who visited Beijing because of the Olympic Games. So you can see the Olympic Games actually provide a good platform, and the heritages as well, infrastructure heritage as well, and help the local city to develop itself at the same time. And then the next next coming up Olympic Games is Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games. And this game will make Beijing become the first city that hosts both summer and winter Olympic Games. It is definitely, for this point, I have to say, it is definitely very Chinese that Chinese government would like to do is to have that one city to have the title. So that's why Beijing has been used as the main city to host both Olympic Games. You can see the picture I shown here is how exciting the people react when the news was announced. It's not only just because that the athletes will have the opportunity to compete to win gold medals at home. It's for Chinese people because of the history and the culture. Being selected, the city and the country being selected as the host for this fantastic event is kind of a sense of being accepted and being recognized again. And at the same time, the event itself provides the opportunity for the country to showcase a new China and to hopefully to use the opportunity to ease some misunderstanding. And so that's one event coming up just in about 8 months' time in 2022. And then just interesting to note, there will be another sporting event considerably big as well. Also in 2022, will be hosting Hong Kong, which is the 11th Gay Games. And not many people know about this event. The Gay Games has been considered as the Olympics in LGBT community. And New York Times has noted before this event has been considered as the most inclusive sporting event. And it is the first time this event will be held in Asia. And the local community are expecting 12,000 participants, 75,000 spectators, and 3,000 volunteers from people from more than probably 100 countries all over the world to join this event. So there you go. Next year, there will be 2 big sporting events will be held in China, and will be very interesting to see what those events, what legacies, how China will be hosting those events, and what kind of legacies and they will impact and legacies that they will left to China and to the host city at the same time. So yeah, this is the content I prepared for today. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, I'm very happy to discuss and answer as many as I can. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Min. That was really interesting. I'm just having a look at some of the questions that have come through. So you mentioned in your presentation that the Olympic Games is only 8 months away. Yes. So do you think China will host more Olympic Games in the future?
At the moment, I haven't seen any news about any plans. But I would say the Beijing Winter Olympic Games probably won't be the last one that China will host in the future. One of the reasons, well, it's a government decision, but one of the reasons probably is because the event itself, the Olympic Games has developed so much since 1984, and in terms of the scale-wise, the event is too big that probably not many cities in the world that has the capacity to actually host this event. Well, this year the Summer Olympic Games will be in Japan, in Tokyo, and then Beijing will host the Winter Olympic Games, and then after that is the next Summer Olympic Games, which will be in Paris, and then after Paris, very interesting is the International Olympic Committee has signed up a contract with Los Angeles, where the city has promised to host the next 2 Summer Olympic Games in a row. And this is one of the reasons because there weren't that many candidates, cities actually put a name down to bidding for the for hosting the event, just simply because the scale of the event that it kind of will give quite a bit of a financial pressure to the host city to organize it. Mm-hmm. So I would say maybe in the future, depends, you know, there may be a change of the event itself, but with the current trend, it might look like there will be only a handful of the mega city that have the capacity. So I guess maybe sooner or later it will be China's turn again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that links to a couple of the other questions that we've got. Obviously, with it taking place, not that, you know, only 8 months away, it's hard to fathom, really. What are some of the challenges of hosting the events in the pandemic? Are they, do you think, looking at something like a hybrid event might have to happen?
Yeah, that's a very that's the current situation we're at the moment, isn't it? I've been reading the news that people doubt whether the Tokyo Olympic Games will carry on or not, and they just slowly back on now. We have some sporting events back on again. It's really hard to say, and it will be very challenging. It will be very interesting to see how, first of all, how Tokyo organize the event. I read the news that it would probably be the first time they would only have Japanese audience, and the organization haven't decided the numbers of audience are allowed to be inside of the competing venue, and the Beijing Winter Olympic Games will still 8 months time ahead, but it would be the winter time. So I read that medical experts said the winter time would be the next winter might be the crucial time to see if we're able to, to conquer this virus again. So I would say probably Beijing would, hopefully not, but it might be in a similar situation with the Tokyo that have a restriction or limitation of the organization, of the audience. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see actually both organizations how they organize this event effectively with all the difficulties that we're facing at the moment.
Mm-hmm. I found it really interesting when you were talking about the history of the Olympic Games and the history of sport in China and how that came about, and I just wondered whether that was unique to China or whether that's something that other countries have done. They've realised the benefits of having this sporting event and how it can change the perception of the country. I
would like to think it's unique, but I probably wouldn't say so. Other countries, I think, for countries who are good, have the traditions good at sports, like it has become part of the culture, like the football here in the UK. And I have attended a conference before where colleagues talk about the football, like Maradona from Argentina. But probably just for Chinese case is sports in general rather than a specific event or a athlete. Or maybe for China is the sports, and because of the history and the culture that sports in China has carried on too many other missions rather than just a physical competition. And so I guess that's why make the sports in China very unique. And yeah, so it's more like a platform and mission for Chinese athletes to maintain the China proud, rather than just a physical competition. So it will be open because that kind of related, when you see Chinese athletes when they doing an interview in Olympic Games or in championships, most of the time they seem quite nervous, or they often will say, "Oh, this opportunity we will come here to, to learn from each other, and then to make our people feel proud." This reason they carry that kind of a pressure, and because of all those history and the culture and relate to sports.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great to see you in there as well on one of your slides. Yeah, that's all the questions that we've had. So I'll pass over to you, Katie. Thank you for that, Min.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you both. So that rounds up everything for today's session. So we hope you've enjoyed the session and found it useful. And we are running more kitchen sessions throughout June. So do check our schedule and sign up for any others that you're interested in. Yes, that's everything from us. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your evening.